Hey, shalom, shalom from your Dutch Uncle John, here to tell you about the truth. You know, we made a lot of long videos. We're going to make a little short one here, just proclaiming one word. And we've got a bunch of words in the pipeline to talk about in the future. Love is a good one. The word son is a good one. So be looking forward to those. But let's talk about truth. In the Hebrew, the word truth is emet. It's an aleph, a mem, and a tav. Notice the aleph is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, the mem is the middle letter, and the tav is the last letter. What's cool about this is if you want to know the truth, you need to look at the beginning, the middle, and the end. You need to see the entire whole picture of something to know the truth. That is a nice message he's hidden in there. All right? Another very cool thing is, if you remember back in Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 15, it says, "A single witness shall not rise up against a man on account of any iniquity or any sin which he has committed. On the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses, a matter shall be established." Notice every letter of truth, every letter of emet. The aleph stands on 2 legs. The mem stands on 2 legs. The tav stands on 2 legs. It is solid. It is secure. That is a nice picture about truth. Also, if you take the word truth and take away the aleph. Now, if you remember in the Paleo-Picto pictures, aleph represents the head of an ox. It represents strength. It represents God. It is God's letter. He's first on everything. And if you take the word emet and take aleph out of it, you're left with met, which is the Hebrew word for death. So truth without God is death. Now, you may also recall every Hebrew letter has a gematria value. Gematria is the Hebrew word for geometry. And here, if we take and put those values in, the aleph is 1, mem is 40, tav is 400. The word emet adds up to 441. All right, so what is so special about 441? Well, it is 21 times 21. 21 squared. Okay? And you know, square, if you're a carpenter and you want to make sure that the angles are 90 degrees, they have a term for this. They want to make sure that the angles are true. So truth and squares have things in common, you understand? And it's interesting that the word truth adds up to a square, 441. Not only that, but if you take the digits of 441, 4 plus 4 plus 1, you get 9, which is also a square, 3 by 3. Everything about truth is square. In fact, let's take not the gematria values, we will take the ordinate values. Ordinate values are, where does the letter show up in the alphabet? Well, the aleph is the first letter, the mem is the 13th letter, the tav is the 22nd letter. The ordinate value adds up to 36. 36 is 6 times 6. It is also square. I'm telling you, everything about truth is square. How cool is this? And 36, if you take the digits of 36, it's 3 plus 6 equals 9. Again, square. This is really cool. Now let's look at the word for falsehood, the opposite of truth. The word is sheker. In Hebrew, it's shin, kuf, resh. Notice there are 3 letters that are all clumped together near the end of the alphabet. You can't find letters that are further away from the Aleph. Remember, Aleph is God, and Sheker is way there at the end. He did not include the final letter, Tav, because Tav represents the cross, and there is nothing about the cross that is a falsehood or a lie. But the 3 prior letters, Kuf, Resh, and Shin, spell Sheker. And again, far away from Aleph, far away from God. You'll notice each letter of Sheker stands on one leg, right? The Shin, I mean, it looks wobbly. It looks like it's ready to fall over. It's kind of heavy on the right side. The same with the Kuf, and the same with the Resh. Compare the two, emet and Sheker. Emet is solid. Sheker looks wobbly. And notice when you're writing these letters on a line, emet is 100% above the line. It's above board. It's truth. Sheker, it's got something that's hanging down below the line. It's something hidden, okay? Which a lie has something hidden, okay? And each letter of Sheker looks like it's about to fall over because it's lopsided on one or the other. And it needs the letter next to it to hold it up, which is what happens. You tell a lie, then you need to tell another lie and another lie to cover this lie, and the lies just kind of multiply, right? If they didn't have letters next to them to hold them up, the whole lie falls apart, which lies do anyway. Now let's look at the gematria of Sheker. The gematria of Shin is 300, Kuf is 100, Resh is 200, the total is 600. It is not a perfect square. It's 6 times 100. 6 is the number of man. I can understand why that would be in there. Man is dirty, rotten liars. Okay? And if you add up the digits of 600, 6 plus 0, it all boils down to 6. 6 is the opposite of 9. If you remember, everything on the previous on truth boiled down to 9, right? 36, 3 and 6. 441 was 4 plus 1, 9. All went to 9. Lies are opposite of truth. Look at the ordinate value of Sheker. The Kuf is the 19th letter. The Resh is the 20th. The Shin is the 21st letter. The word Sheker adds up to 60, which 6 plus 0 is 6. Lies boil down to 6. The number of man. The number of Antichrist, remember, is going to be 666. 666. Big fat liar. Now let's go back and look at truth again. Oh, before we do, I remember what the other thing was about Sheker. Notice that each letter of Sheker is actually in the wrong place in terms of where it is supposed to be in the alphabet. The Kuf is the first letter in the alphabet, but it's the second letter in Sheker. The Resh is the next letter in the alphabet, but it's the last letter in Sheker. And the Shin is the last letter in the alphabet of the 3. And the Shin is the first letter of Sheker. Note, every one of them is in a lie position. Okay, now let's have a look at truth. Okay, we said emet, truth, is 441, which is 21 times 21, and it's a square. And notice that 21 is 3 times 7, and then another 21 is 3 times 7. There again we have our 3's and 7's tied into this. Okay, God is 3, He's a complex unity, Father, Son, Spirit, and His perfection, completion number is 7. Very nice. Now, in the Greek alphabet also has these, we'll call them gematria numbers, but in Greek they're not called gematria, they're called isopsephy. Okay? So here's the Greek alphabet. In the New Testament, the Brit Hadashah, which Jeremiah 31:31 said, I'm going to give you a Brit Hadashah, a New Testament, a new covenant, not like the one that I gave you in Sinai, which you broke. Okay? So the New Testament also talks about truth. In fact, Yeshua Jesus said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me. So Yeshua Jesus claimed to be the truth. But in Greek, the Greek word is aletheia, is truth. And if you put these isosophy numbers in for aletheia, which by the way begins with the letter aleph, or alpha in Greek, put in the numbers and they add up to 64. 64 is 8 times 8, a perfect square. Notice everything about truth is square. Whether it is in Hebrew or whether it is in Greek, it is square. And they both begin with alpha or aleph, God. So, when you see all of these cool things, it makes me ask this question. In what language, which truth is inspired by God? Well, from what we just saw, in the Hebrew, there's stuff pointing to truth, 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 confirming that truth, emet, Hebrew is correct. And sheker, it's got all kind of things pointing that it's not correct, or it's not truth. So I'm giving the Hebrew a check mark. It's good to go. And even in the Greek, it begins with alpha. Its value is square, 64. I'm giving Greek a God-inspired check mark. When I read the Bible in English, I get these words, truth and lie. There's no numeric significance. There's no standing on one leg. There's nothing about these words, truth or lie, that help prove that it's true. Okay, so I'm not crazy about the English translations. And when you look at it in Arabic, here's the words in Arabic. I see nothing here that, and I don't speak or know Arabic, but I have looked for things online that may explain, wow, look at what's hidden in the word for truth and lie in Arabic. I find nothing. Which is interesting. If the Islamic faith says that God gave the Torah, and man corrupted the Torah, and then God gave the Injil, the New Testament, but then man corrupted it and changed it, and so then God had to give the Quran. Well, if God could inspire the Hebrew with this word emet and sheker, and if God could inspire the Greek with all these wonderful, marvelous, amazing things in the Greek, why didn't he do that again in the Quran? That's a good question. If he's God and he can do amazing things in different languages, why did he choose not to show us truth in Arabic with all these wonderful things? And if you're going to look at the Latin, this is for my Catholic friends, Veritas and Mendicium. Again, I see wobbly letters. I don't see any gematria. Stay away from these languages. Stick to the Hebrew and the Greek, because those are the God-inspired languages. Okay, let's look at Genesis 1:1. You know this verse, we've covered it forever and ever. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim va'et haaretz. The first three words, Bereshit bara Elohim. Bereshit is in beginning. Bara is created. Elohim is God. The first three words end, the first word ends in a tav, the second word bara ends in an aleph, The third word, Elohim, ends in a mem. Notice the first three words of the Bible end in Tav, Aleph, Mem. These are the letters of truth, but they are not in order. They're in some kind of chaotic state, which, when you move to verse 2 of Genesis 1, it said, and the earth was formless and void. So he created the heavens and the earth in verse 1, and in verse 2, it's letting you know that things were not, they were chaotic. All right? So truth was there, it was just not in the right order. Okay? Then on day 1, he said, be light, and he was good. And on day 2, he separated the waters. And on day 3, he made the land appear and saw it was good. And he covered it with vegetation and saw it was good. And on day 4, he made the sun, moon, and stars, and he saw it was good. And on day 5, he made the fish and birds and saw it was good. And on day 6, he made the animals and saw it was good. And then he made man, and then he saw that everything that he made was very good. And so in 6 days, everything now is very good. And then you come to the 7th day, Genesis 2:3. And it says, this is the last day of Creator Week. And it says, and God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all his work which God had created to do. The last 3 words of Creator Week are bara, Elohim, lesot. Bara had created. God, Elohim, ends in a mem. And lesot ends in a tav. You have those 3 last words, aleph, mem, tav. Creator Week ends with truth established. How beautiful is that? You know, we're going to wind this up with John, the Gospel of John in the Brit Hadashah, New Testament, chapter 18, starting in verse 33. Jesus has been arrested. He's been turned over to Pilate. And Pilate's asking the Jews, you know, what did he do wrong? And they said, just trust us, trust us. He deserves death. And they said, well, why don't you take him and try him in your own tribunals, you know, for your own breaking your Hebrew laws. And the Jews said, no, because we cannot impose the death penalty because we are Roman citizens and we have to follow, Rome can only put someone to death. You know, they're hypocrites to these are not Jews all. These are the Jewish leaders. Imagine political, religious people. Religious people who are political. That's who's doing this. And Pilate, well, what did he do wrong? And they said, well, he claimed to be king. And we Jews, we have no king except Caesar. Ugh! Can you even imagine it's coming out of someone's mouth? Someone who claims to be the religious leaders of the time, following Yahweh, Elohim, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying such a thing? Whew. All right, let's go to verse 33. So it says, therefore Pilate entered again into the praetorium and summoned Yeshua and said to him, are you the king of the Jews? Yeshua answered, are you saying this on your own initiative, or did others tell you about me? Pilate answered, I am not a Jew, am I? Your own nation and the chief priests delivered you to me. What have you done? Yeshua answered, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then my servants would be fighting so that I would not be handed over to the Jews. But as it is, my kingdom is not of this realm. Therefore Pilate said to him, so you are a king? Yeshua answered, yes, you say correctly that I am a king. For this I have been born, And for this I have come into the world, to testify to the emet, the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice. Pilate said to him, what is truth? And then Pilate left the praetorium. Can you even imagine? Here you have Pilate, the Roman governor, staring at truth personified. And he asks him, what is truth? My friends, listen. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through me. Please ask God, on your knees, ask God to give you wisdom and to give you discernment so that you will recognize the truth. Because someday you will stand before Him and you will kneel before Him. And it's your responsibility now to recognize and admit and confess with your mouth that Yeshua Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart that God raised Him from the dead, and then you will be saved. Don't wait until it's too late. The truth will set you free. To God be the glory, to God be the honor, to God be the praise. See you soon. Bye-bye. Wait, we have a bonus. You know, in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, starting in verse 8, it says, then the lawless one will be revealed, whom the Lord will slay with the breath of His mouth, and bring to an end by the appearance of His coming. That is, the one whose coming is in accord with the activity of Satan, with all the power and signs and false wonders, and with all the deception of wickedness for those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth so as to be saved. For this reason, God will send upon them a deluding influence, so that they will believe a lie, in order that they all may be judged who did not believe the truth, but took pleasure in wickedness. You know, this lawless one, this is Antichrist. And when he shows up during the tribulation period, this is after the rapture. The Christians are now gone, and the Antichrist is going to show up, and Satan is going to indwell him. And he's going to do false signs and wonders and ooh and ah. And people are going to believe this lie. You understand? And it says God is going to send a deluding influence to these people, that they will believe the lie. It's going to be very sad. And you know what? You see part of this happening already today. They're changing. Who's they? They are changing the meanings of words. They're changing things so that, aha, you can't say that. You can't say this. You can't say stewardess. You can't, they changed that word. Flight attendant. You're offending somebody. You can't talk about Merry Christmas. No, anything that has anything to do with truth, they're canceling it. We don't have global warming anymore. Now it's climate change. We don't have jungles, we have rainforests. You understand? They just keep changing, and you can't use these words because you're offending somebody. And you know, a right-wing protest, they call a riot. A left-wing riot, they call a protest. Fascist, Nazi, those are now anybody who disagrees with the far left. Truth is being twisted, and you can't twist truth. There is one truth. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. You have fetus is not a human. Oh, we can abort this thing. It's just a thing. It's just a mass. But try breaking a turtle's egg on the seashore. It's not a turtle, it's still in, no, it's a turtle. But a human baby, they don't consider a human. Truth is being hijacked. And we must stand straight and tall and stand up for what is true. You see it in men and women. You have how many different genders now? There are two genders. God made man and he made woman. That's it. There's two. And people are demanding that you use a different pronoun because they classify themselves as X, Y, or Z, or there's what, 60 or 70 different things, and they all want their own pronoun, and they all want their own truth. You can't say chairman. You can't say right-hand man. You can't say man on the street. Everything with man is, you have to say person. Manhole. A manhole cover. They're upset about a manhole cover. There's a museum in San Diego, the Museum of Man. It changed its name this week to the Museum of Us. All right, listen. I think I'm done ranting for a while. Just know that there is one truth, okay? And you need to defend that truth. And you need to fight against these people who are against this truth. And I'm warning you, be careful. Be careful of these us-holes that you don't fall in. I'm sorry, I meant manholes. Thanks for watching. God bless. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.